The island of Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, has a population of nearly 23 million people. This makes Taiwan the second most densely populated country in the world. Located in the East China Sea, about 100 miles from the Chinese mainland, Taiwan's climate is of the subtropical monsoon type. Yearly typhoons bring strong winds and enormous amounts of rain that produce devastating floods. Strong earthquakes also strike Taiwan and can cause massive damage. Today, Taiwan is characterized by large modern cities and a technically competent labor force. Non-Chinese people, called Aborigines, constitute about 2% of the population. They were pushed inland into the mountains by Chinese immigration. They are the forgotten minority in Taiwan.
My people were here before the Chinese or the Europeans. We are almost as old as these mountains. Our spirit is in these mountains.
My name is Father Tom Browning. I'm a Columban priest, and I serve in Taiwan. My parish is found in the central mountains of Taiwan, along the Da'an River. The parish is spread out among 15 villages, and there are 7 villages with churches in them. So it starts from the flatlands where the foothills of the mountains start, and it reaches up all the way up into the highest mountains, where is actually the sacred mountain for the Atayals, Dabajian Mountain. We're really like in the shadow of this mountain. The Atayals have lived on Taiwan for 3,000 years. They speak a language that is an Austronesian language, and many of the linguists think it's the oldest language of its type. Atayal women are known for their weaving, and the men are known for being fierce and for hunting. Traditionally, the people were headhunters. The young girls had to learn to weave. When they learned how to weave, they would get a tattoo on their face. They would get the facial tattoos. And in the facial tattoo would be a weaving pattern. And since they were able to weave, they were able to marry out into another family. When I first came here, and it was evident that the people were facing cultural extinction. Their language was dying out, their culture was dying out. I felt a desire to try to, within the church, preserve some of that. We set up a small little group, a small little cultural preservation group, you'd call it, and we started interviewing the elders, recording songs, recording stories, recording rituals. I felt a real urgency about it. I would see elders dying off, basically, and whole stories were going with them, and whole language, the language was going with them. When I first came up, I asked them, how do you say young girl in Aborigine, in the Atayal language? Some people said, oh, we don't have that word. So I asked a few elders, what is the word for young lady? And they said, makarakis. And so I started to use this word jokingly. I often would call the old ladies makarakis. And they said, well, that doesn't mean old lady. And I says, no, it means young lady. I know that. But I just want to call you that. I just want to use the word. Within a year, that I noticed how that word came back into the language. I mean, something like that, I felt the urgency. We had to start saving words. Because the church is a center in the village, it is an institution, I felt it important to bring the culture within the church. I also recorded songs. And so we started to use Atayal singing. Not only did we incorporate the culture into, say, the liturgies, but the people also have a certain style of celebrating. The church also incorporates their style of celebration. And for them, it's very important to come together and dance and sing. And they really appreciate it when the church does this and organizes a traditional festival. And then they'll prepare millet cakes. Millet is a type of rice, and they will boil it up, and then they'll smash it into cakes. This is one of the times when the villages love to come together, and they really enjoy this. And there's a great spirit of cooperation and having fun. And so the church will come together and have a great festival. Oh, Bicoma! What a pity it would be if this culture was lost. The people have so many gifts. They have such a deep spirituality. They know so many things about the mountains, about the plants. They have so many songs that have passed on for 3,000 years. These people have lived in Taiwan. It's very important for them to remember what their ancestors had taught them, all the customs, the languages, not to have it die out. In our Mass and in our prayer services, we use the Atayal songs, the traditional songs. These songs hadn't been sung, many of them, for 10, 20 years, and part of preserving the culture, we've been incorporating them in the Mass. Well, the people love it, because for once, they're able to sing from their own heart, and using the words to thank God, to ask God for help, to praise God. And so it has really affected their heart that their church is not a foreign church. It is a church of their own culture. It's their church. It's not a church that came from somewhere else. I was here helping the culture be preserved. But then it was also very clear that the faith had to be built up stronger. For the parish to come to full fruition, it took time.
Amen.
You still get a sense the faith is still a young faith. The Aborigines, the Atayal people, they're hard workers. They're not afraid of pain. They will do things like in a typhoon. They will build a bridge out of nowhere to risk to save somebody on the other side of the river. Underneath that, they have this gift, this warmth, this friendliness, singing. They have very good singing voices, and they like to dance and to have fun. Really, the gift that has touched me the most is their deep sense of spirituality. They have a way of quieting themselves down and touching God or being touched by God almost immediately. They don't have to have the place quiet. They just know how to quiet themselves down and to reach out to God and touch God. I have grown from this spirituality, and I find myself able to do it too. When it's time to pray, quiet down. Whatever's going on, quiet down. And the prayers are there. God is there. And it is a great gift these people have.
My father was one of the first to accept the Catholic religion when it came to the mountains. He was very grateful for everything the church did for his people because they were very poor.
In the villages today, the church is the center. And it's only because of the church. If it wasn't for the work of the church, our culture would have been extinct by now. For me, the future, I also want to work for God.
I know there are Catholics everywhere. We're Catholics here and there and everywhere. Since we are all Catholics everywhere, we have this identity of being together.
When I first came to Taiwan and worked with the Atayal people, I was pretty well prepared. I knew not to have any expectations. Just listen. Be with the people and listen. That was really important. What I did not expect is for me to be so happy. There has been frustrations. You deal with them. But I never expected to be so happy and so content and thanking God every day I'm here. I feel God has put me in the right place and I love it.
Badakayan,
want them to survive. They have to survive.
Di mo'y sora, di mo yan, di mo'y sora, di mo yan, di mo'y sora, di mo yan, di mo'y sora, di mo yan. Ya, 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 ki pakasaw tari asaw ni. Pakasaw ta, o tori asaw ni.